This guy is Teddy Daniels. He is a hardcore QAnoner. Doesn't get more QAnon-y than this guy right here. He also ran for office. I'm not sure if he actually took his position in office or not, but he has a conspiracy theory for us. I actually got this video from somebody sending an email to me, fascinatingly. I apologize that I can't credit you in this video, but you know who you are. Put a comment down below and I'll pin it if you see this. Anyway, let's talk about this video. This is a QAnon conspiracy theory that is freaking people out to a degree you can't even imagine. Check this out.
I recently obtained this critical intel from the U.S. Congressional Advisory Board.
He received critical intel, okay?
Homeland Security. According to this intel, Russia, with the...
Wait, why is he getting intel of all people? Why is this random QAnon nutcase being handed critical intel by Congress and Homeland Security? That's kind of suspect, right?
Russia, with the support of China, could soon attack us with an electronic nuclear weapon.
Well, they could attack us anytime they want. We could attack them anytime we want. Everybody realizes the moment anybody attacks anybody else, it's going to be the end. It's, that's nuclear holocaust, baby. That's it. Say goodbye to the entire human race. That's why the U.S. doesn't attack China with nukes, and China doesn't attack us with nukes, and Russia doesn't attack anybody else with nukes, despite all of their bluster about how they want to launch nukes at people or whatever. They never actually take that step. So I'm sorry, I gotta stop you there, man. I doubt you even got this special intel, but even if you did, I don't know what's so special about this intel, but anybody could attack anybody at any moment. Doesn't mean they're going to.
Electronic nuclear weapon. The government doesn't want you to see this congressional report.
Why? Why would you think the government doesn't want you to see this? How did he get it? And why isn't he being, kidnapped or some other nonsense?
But as you can see, it says in plain English that this attack could cause a nationwide blackout lasting 1 year that could kill up to 90% of the American people through starvation and societal collapse.
Lots of coulds in that sentence, huh? Could cause a blackout lasting a year. Could kill up to 90%. Let me tell you something about what he's talking about here, okay? He's talking about an electronic nuclear weapon, as he said a minute ago. It's called hemp. And this is a real thing. High altitude electromagnetic pulse. It's basically launching an EMP bomb from a very high altitude. This isn't classified. This isn't a big secret. We've known that this type of technology exists for a really, really long time. As a matter of fact, when you drop a nuke, you have a massive wave of EMP. EMP is just a massive charge of energy shot in one specific direction, like a gigantic burst. It's like a lightning strike hitting your telephone pole and shooting through your house and shorting out all of your equipment. That's basically what EMP is, for lack of a better description. It's not exactly like that. You're sending a burst of light across the spectrum, from microwaves all the way up and down the spectrum. You're trying to shoot it in a directed beam, basically. And he's saying that they have a big nuclear weapon that doesn't actually detonate a bomb. It just shoots like the EMP wave. Now, there's a little hole in this problem for him that he's describing here. First of all, this technology has existed for a very long time, and the US and every other country out there has built the infrastructure out to protect against that kind of thing. All you have to do to prevent an EMP shockwave from affecting equipment is put shielding in it, to prevent the waves, the gamma waves or whatever else from affecting it. If you have unprotected infrastructure, it can take down the power grid, certain power grids, for a short time, or permanently damage them so they have to be replaced. That's it. That's all that happens. It's not like it blacks it out for 1 year. You just have to At worst, replace the power lines. People replace power lines all the time. Okay, it wouldn't be anything like what they're describing here. That's the first little problem. The second little problem is nobody's doing this. It would be World War III. But okay, let's listen to him fearmonger like wild about this intel that he received. That isn't even intel. Like, everybody knows this technology exists. Quick interjection. I won't take long. I just wanted to tell you guys, YouTube's algorithm operates off of a few factors. Watch time, whether or not you subscribe, and whether or not you like something. So if you really want to help my channel, I would appreciate it if you guys watch the video to the end. If you don't watch it to the end, just watch a little bit longer than you would have otherwise. I would appreciate that very much. All right, let's get back to the video.
Unlike traditional weapons, we won't feel any blast on the ground, and there will be no mushroom cloud.
Well, if it was powerful enough to knock out our electronics completely for 1 year, it would kill human beings too, if it was that powerful. So he's wrong on every single thing he's saying here.
Instead, this is a silent, untraceable bomb that's detonated above the atmosphere in outer space. It's called HEMP, or High Altitude Electromagnetic Pulse. It silently emits.
Again, like, these are weapons that have been theorized and worked on in the past. Who knows? Maybe the U.S. military has one. Maybe the Russian military has it. Like, I don't know. But if somebody dropped one of these on somebody else, it would be the end of everybody. You can sit here wringing your hands over a nuclear holocaust all you want. I don't know what that accomplishes. I live in New York City. I'm like the prime target. When nuclear holocaust comes, this guy is going to be first to go, okay? I don't sit here worrying about that every night. It's either going to happen or it's not. I'm going to move on with my life. But that's not useful to build in a sense of fear in everybody that you talk to. So QAnon, naturally, is going to try to convince you that it's happening any 5 minutes. Just like they talk about the, Armageddon from the Bible happening any 5 minutes now. This is QAnon's end of the world event, I guess. Again, it wouldn't be 365 days. You just have to replace the power lines. That's it. And probably not even all of them, because we're shielded from that stuff.
Silently emits enhanced gamma rays potent enough to shut down America's power grid and fry all electronics across the entire country.
No, completely false. He has no idea what he's talking about here.
The report concludes.
For the record, the United States has been working on a directed energy weapon that uses EMP, like an EMP beam that can be shot in a specific direction to disable vehicles and weapons and things like that. But, there are ways to shield against it, and it's just really, really difficult to accomplish. I honestly don't see this ever being a problem for us in our day-to-day lives. This is not happening. They might as well just drop a nuclear weapon on us. If they wanted us to die like that, they just drop a nuke. Those are way easier to produce, and they cause the same effect.
The report concluded that the blast will black out our entire electric grid and other critical infrastructures. With a single blow, it could plunge our nation into darkness for 365 days.
I don't know where he's getting this 365 days thing from. It's just like one big burst that fries a whole bunch of equipment that isn't shielded, and then you need to replace that equipment. Simple as that. Or a lot of that equipment will just come right back on, like online. You ever been sitting there, your power goes out in your house, and then comes right back on? Like you're sitting there working on your computer, your power goes out, your computer turns off, and then it turns back on? That's probably what would happen to most things. I researched this pretty heavily. That's my understanding of it. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about anything in the comments. I'm very confident about all of this. If I'm wrong about something, I'll pin a comment to the bottom. So just go check the comment there that's pinned to the top. If there's nothing pinned, then, no objections that were legitimate.
Most Americans have no idea how bad things could get under this kind of extended power outage.
So he's just spent his time convincing you that this could happen, and it's going to happen any 5 minutes now. And now he's going to tell you the consequences of it, okay?
So let me spell it out for you. because it would have deadly implications for you and your family. You see, the moment this bomb is detonated, you'll instantly lose cell phone and internet services.
And then it'll come back up within a couple of minutes, probably. Most of it.
No phone, no TV, no radio.
For like 5 minutes.
No internet. Nothing. That means you can't call 911.
Okay, so radio wouldn't work for a while. That's correct. But it would come back up after that EMP burst cleared. We actually discovered that this was a problem originally, at the very least in the 90s. I don't know, it may have been sooner than that, but I remember when I was little, my dad owned this little computer repair shop in the 1990s. I was 4 or 5 or 6 years old, maybe, somewhere in there. No, I was 4 or 5. I remember going to his little shop. It was pretty cool. Anyway, he repaired computers back in the day before they were popular. And there were periods of time where he would get like tons and tons and tons of phone calls coming in. Hey, my computer's doing this. It's doing that. It's doing this. It's all the same stuff. The answer? There was a solar flare. There was a sunspot that was causing interference with electrical equipment. Seriously, this is something that we've known about for a very long time. All you have to do is shield your electrical equipment about it, and boom, you're good. As Robert Adset points out, idiots shooting transformers are a more immediate threat. Absolutely, 100% correct. Domestic terrorists, like, for example, QAnoners and others on the far right, have been hitting electrical substations. That is a much bigger threat. It's a much more likely threat, at the very least. Now, I understand that this hemp thing exists, this high-altitude EMP shockwave. It probably exists. It's been theorized. It's been worked on. It's not going to happen, okay? It's about as likely as a nuclear bomb. And why wouldn't they just drop the nuke if they're going to destroy society like that anyway?
You can't call firefighters or the cops. Heck, you won't even know where your local police are, or even if they still exist. But thanks to my training in military intelligence, I've obtained some controversial information that
Did you catch what he just said? Listen again.
But thanks to my training in military intelligence.
What training? What training did you receive? This guy actually did. He was infantry in Afghanistan and was in a firefight and was shot in the leg. Almost lost his leg. They had to do an operation, and he ended up being fine at the end of the day. But he did a whole thing on Tucker Carlson's show where they showed the video of it, and blah, blah, blah. Infantry. Remember? Infantry. What is he talking about? Secret military intelligence something? What are you talking about, man?
I've obtained some controversial information that I believe every American patriot deserves to know.
Again, this is not hard to access. I mean, I looked it up on Wikipedia, and right there it is. Oh, is he selling something? I hear you asking. Stuck in Neutral asks specifically. He's trying to make himself more reputable. He's selling his influence, basically. He has courses that you can access that will teach you how to survive the 365 days, basically. He's trying to get you to come to his website, to his YouTube channel, and to his whatever else, so that he can make money off of the ads while he explains to you how to survive.
To know. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how the Biden administration is lying to you.
But the Trump administration wasn't. See, Biden is, Trump wasn't. Right, okay.
About this imminent risk and putting your life and the lives of your loved ones in danger.
But Trump didn't do that, just Biden.
I'll show you irrefutable evidence that the U.S. blew up the Russian Nord Stream pipeline. And that
Okay, that's nonsense. That's already been adjudicated. I don't know how old this video is. The U.S. did not blow up the Nord Stream pipeline, so I mean, I think we can take this as proof that this guy's a liar, right? As if we needed more.
That the U.S. blew up the Russian Nord Stream pipeline, and that Russia is preparing for a counterattack with this nuclear electronic weapon.
Jesus, dude. This happened like forever ago. This video must be like old as sin, right? And he left this up. This is an embarrassment. He said he had irrefutable proof that the U.S. blew up the Nord Stream pipeline and Russia was preparing for a counterattack with this weapon. And here we sit. This is a joke.
According to this official congressional report, if you ignore this message and do nothing, there's a 90% chance that you and your family could die within the first year of the attack.
This fear-mongering stuff is just ridiculous.
You won't be able to call anyone for help or even check on your loved ones. All electronics will be turned into junk. You'll have no AC, no heating, no refrigerator.
Just ramp that fear up as much as you can. This is insane, dude. This is absolutely insane. Fascinating to see how the mind of a QAnoner works, though, isn't it? This just blows me away, man.
Banks will shut down. ATMs and credit cards won't work.
There's your reason to keep cash, or gold, or copper, preferably. That's the QAnon line. You should be keeping precious metals around, because when everything goes to hell in a handbasket, you're going to need those precious metals to trade for food.
Which means you won't even be able to take your own money out of the bank. You won't be able to drive your car either. You see, modern cars and trucks.
Oh my God, dude. Here's a reason not to use hybrid cars or more fuel efficient or better cars in any way. You shouldn't use modern cars at all. You should be using an old car from back in the day, 30 years ago. I used to ride this old F-250 around. I think it was a 250, maybe a 350. It was huge. Big black Ford. I used to drive that thing around, and I remember one time I was driving it with my kid, Kylie, and we stop at a stoplight, and there's a literal fire coming up out of the hood. I was like, holy shit. We jump out. I turn it off. We jump out, and when I turned the key off, it stopped. It turns out it was my brother's car, actually. He had rigged up this system for towing a trailer, and he just ran the clamp from the battery all the way underneath and up to, like, the bed of the truck, and that wire was exposed and hitting up against stuff and lit a fire. Anyways, Jesus, dude, that thing was a clunker. But the point here is that one time my alternator went out on that thing. And if you don't know what happens when an alternator goes out, your lights and, dashboard lights and headlights and everything, it all starts to dim real slowly. And before you know it, your wheel locks up. You can't turn, and then the car just turns off, and that's it. Except in those older vehicles, the ones from the 90s. I think this is a 91 F-250 or something. It was 100% automatic, like all of it. It didn't have any components that relied on the electronics in it. It was a manual transmission. It was a standard that I was driving around. So standard transmission. I didn't even need the battery to turn it on. I could just kickstart it. You get the vehicle moving physically, get it moving about 5-10 miles an hour, going downhill or something. You pop the clutch and put it into gear, and the engine lights up on that thing. So I'm driving along, and I'm seeing my lights dim more and more and more until they're completely off. And I'm like, oh my God, my truck, I got to get off the interstate. The truck's about to turn off. This has happened before, okay? And so I turn off the interstate. I'm waiting for it. It's going to happen any second. And I drive just the normal route all the way home. Like, I don't know, 10 miles home. I just kept driving. I'm like, when's this thing going to turn off? It never turned off. You know why? It literally doesn't rely on electronics at all, anywhere along the line. No electronics necessary for that truck to run. And that is the fear campaign this guy is trying to build into people. Modern vehicles shouldn't be used. You should be using old standard transmission vehicles that run on carburetors and don't need alternators at all, except to run your headlights. These people are just ridiculous, man, honestly. I mean, it's absolutely shameless, the fear campaigns these people go through to convince people that they have the answers to all of their problems. Let me know what you think.
Hey, Owen. This is Josh LaRue from Arkansas. I just wanted to let you know at my job today, I overheard a soldier speaking with another customer and the soldier said that he had been in Ukraine and that we should be supporting Russia because Zelensky is a liberal terrorist like Biden, and that he would be honored to fight for Russia against someone like him. Very scary, like down here in the middle of MAGA country. He also said the country's doomed if Trump isn't reelected, and it just makes me wonder how many more soldiers are thinking like this. I actually have a YouTube channel called the Slash Tracks Network. I've commented on a few of your videos. I hope you have a good day. Very scary stuff, though.
Appreciate that. I actually got the alert when you first commented because your channel is over a certain size. It automatically sends me an alert when that happens. So I checked out your channel. It's pretty cool stuff. I appreciate you leaving comments. Yeah, as we've seen already, there are a lot of soldiers out there like that. Teddy Daniels is one of those soldiers, previously at the very least. He's not in anymore. I think he's entirely too, how do I put this nicely, physically unfit to do the job at this point. Not that I'm physically fit to do the job. I'm certainly not. I'm just saying he is not physically fit for this. Anyway, there are a lot of soldiers out there. Oh, yeah, here, this is the video of Teddy Daniels. This is where he got shot. I cut it off before the shot of it.
Somebody lay down some fire! I'm hit! I'm hit!
This is actually in Afghanistan. It's kind of crazy. Anyway. I've never actually seen video like that before. Now you know. Yeah, the point is there are actually a lot of soldiers out there like that. However, the overarching military command structure is not... It's still in favor of democracy, as far as I can tell. The Joint Chiefs of Staff, the generals, and the admirals, and the everybody's are still in a position where they believe they should follow their oath to the Constitution, and their interpretation of that is to protect democracy and to take orders from the president, the duly elected president, the guy that's sworn in on January 20th. And when Trump tried to take over in 2020, it failed, at least in part because the military refused to break their oaths to help him. So yeah, there are some nutcases out there that should not be in the military. On the other hand, there are a lot of good people in the military, though I think the military brainwashes people. In fact, I don't think that it does. It brainwashes people. It's an explicit goal, and I don't think that's great. But there are a lot of good people out there, and the overarching command supports the Constitution, it seems to me. So take that for what you will.
Hello, Owen. This is Ron from Tennessee. And I was just talking about how people are turning against Biden because he's, well, it's a big thing how he's supporting Israel and everything. But when you think about it, I mean, you rather support Trump, who's been indicted 4 times, well, more than 4 times, and then just because Biden says something you don't like, you're willing to put this whole country in turmoil just because of that.
Yeah, and not voting for Biden is a vote for Trump. I just want to insert that in there, just to add to your point. If you don't vote for Biden, you're voting for Trump.
And like Michael Steele said, if Biden is being tied with Trump, then he is doing something wrong. And I was just wondering your opinion about that. If you want to. But thank you very much. Bye.
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call. I've seen that Biden's poll numbers don't look very good at this immediate moment in history. We will see how things change over time. He may have soured on some people because of his response in Israel and his response to the whole everything, all of that stuff. That may have soured some people on him, but in a year, I don't think anybody's going to pay attention. My wife said the same thing. I don't think people are going to remember this. People have a very myopic view of things, and they're not going to think about what happened 12 months ago. Almost certainly. So, I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's absolutely ridiculous for people to choose not to vote for Biden because of some ridiculous thing, some stupid interpretation of his actions or whatever, when the alternative is Donald Trump, you're voting for Donald Trump in that case. But I don't think it's going to have an effect long term. We'll see. Thanks for the voicemail. Got an email from Stefan. Hey, I don't know if you know, but you may have accidentally copied this week's podcast with last week's. I did not know that. Thank you for telling me. I fixed it. Sorry about that. I did not mean to do that. Yeah, if you guys didn't know I have a podcast, it's on every podcasting app on the App Store, iTunes and SoundCloud and everything else. So, yeah, you can check that out if you want. It's just edited, cleaned up version of my Fireside chat channel, so with no video. This email is from Joshua. Dear Owen, I really thought you cared. I messaged you a while ago inviting you to discuss Israel. You never answered. I'm not sure where you messaged me, Joshua, or Josh. Can I call you Josh? I hope so. I'm going to. I don't know where you messaged me, Josh. I pretty much have no connection to DM people except for texting my wife or my kid, because there are so many people, literally thousands. I can't keep up with DMs. I tried to keep up with them. At about 50,000 subscribers, that was the point at which I just couldn't anymore. It's literally impossible. So I set up situations in which I can communicate with people less directly in groups. I hold a voice chat in Discord before my Sunday night streams every week without fail for 5 years or something. If you want to get into that, you can talk to me. Just go to Discord, my Discord, and get in at about 8 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday night, and I'll be there. That's a good way to talk to me. Or send messages in my live chat. That's pretty good too. I just don't have DMs open. Or send me a message like this. This is also good, Send me a voicemail. That's a good way too. I check that. So anyways, I'm sorry you feel like I ignored you, but I just literally don't even look at DMs because there are so many thousands. I had considered doing what others do, other, content creators, and hiring somebody to curate the DMs for me and respond on my behalf. But it's not really the same in that case. So I just said, I'm not going to bother with that. Anyways, let's keep listening, or let's keep reading here. I've been following you for years. I'm a better atheist and a better person thanks to you. I appreciate that. But you hurt me. You call Israel an apartheid state. It is an apartheid state. You called us murderers. Who is us? I said the Israeli government is a murderer, collectively, the Israeli government. Are you including yourself? Is this secretly Netanyahu calling in or writing into me? You blame Israel for the situation when Hamas calls for the extermination of Jews. I don't blame Israel 100% for the entire situation. I do blame Israel for bombing apartment buildings and hospitals indiscriminately in Gaza. I do blame Israel for the 62% women and children death rate in Gaza. I do blame Israel for cutting power to Gaza and clean water just to citizens. That is wrong. Anyway, let's keep reading here. Yeah, Hamas bad. I agree. Yes, it's bad. I don't like Hamas. I wish Hamas didn't exist. I wish ISIS didn't exist. I consider them the same. I don't like ISIS. I don't like Hezbollah. I mean, the whole big list of things. But you know what? They're terrorists. That's what we expect terrorists to do. And that's why our militaries battle terrorists. But I expect more of an official government that has the backing of the United States. I expect more of a government like that, that's getting funding from the U.S. My tax dollars are going to this government that is using them to kill people. Innocent people who didn't do shit to anybody. Anyway, keep reading. You always called out anti-Semitism. Absolutely did. Anti-Semitism is wrong. I admired you for it. You yourself know what it is to be persecuted. Yes, I do. But you have fallen like so many on the left. How have I fallen? I don't understand. You've fallen for anti-Israel propaganda and lies told by Hamas, blank, and infant killers. So Israel is not going into Gaza, is what you're claiming then. Is that your position? You don't think that Israel is doing any attacks or anything? They're just leaving Gazans alone completely? I don't understand. What's the anti-Israel propaganda here that I've fallen for? Again, Hamas bad. I agree. Yes, they're terrible. I have no choice but to unfollow you. This saddens me, but I cannot, in good conscience, support you. By repeating falsehoods about Israel, you hurt me and every Jew in the world. I shouldn't. Why does me criticizing a government in the world have anything to do with Jews? The only way that it has anything to do with Jews is if you view it as an apartheid state. If you view me criticizing Israel as criticizing Jews, you believe that it's an apartheid state. Oh, and not every Jew in the world. There are lots and lots of Jewish people that are not offended by my pure disgust in what the government is doing. You never responded to my first mail, so I understand that you're not interested in the truth. Goodbye. I didn't get your first email. I'm sorry. I can't hit everything. I try. I really do. I just can't. It's literally impossible. What about all of the Jewish people protesting what Israel is doing right now? Are they hurting every Jewish person in the world also? This is an extremist TV show here, Flashpoint, interviewing Marjorie Taylor Greene. The protesters you're about to see are Jewish people protesting what Israel is doing in their name.
Where you were yesterday, watch.
See the signs? Never again for anyone. This is a Jewish group that we're looking at here, protesting on behalf of Palestinians, on Gazans.
Gene, these were not simple Jewish protesters. You can see from that video right there, they were organized, they were orchestrated.
Anyway, they're going to fearmonger about it. Lots and lots of Jewish people protesting on behalf of the innocent Gazan civilians who didn't do anything to anybody. So I don't think that I agree with you that I'm hurting every Jew in the world. I think that they agree with me, by and large. I don't know. I'm sorry that you feel like I ignored you. That was not my intent. I just can't respond to everybody. I try. But your position is batshit insane. Please come back to reality. I'm begging you. I agree. Israel government terrible. This guy is off. I appreciate that, Cootmaster. It's just like, I don't want anybody to be like upset with me or whatever. I'm not trying to like ignore anybody. I want to hear valid criticisms. I want to hear any criticism so I can pull it apart, talk about it. This guy, he gave me his best criticisms here, and I feel like they all fell flat. Eric Wander, welcome. Hello, Owen. Have you reacted to Pastor Eric Damon story about him punching a kid in the chest? Look for it. I don't think I've seen that.
There was a young man in Calvary. His name was Ben. And I was running a youth group. I was there for a few years. And he was a nice kid, but he was one of those kids that was always he's a real smart aleck. Was just...
Okay, I don't like where this is going already.
Was a bright kid, which didn't help things, right? Made him more dangerous. And we were outside one day, youth group, and he was just trying to push my buttons, and he was just, kind of not taking the Lord serious.
Wow, that really pushes buttons to ask questions about beliefs, huh? The gall, right?
And I walked over to him, and I went, bam! I punched him in the chest as hard as I crumpled the kid. I just crumpled him.
Is he admitting a felony right now publicly? Because somebody asked a question about God, presumably. I don't know. Isn't that what you're supposed to do with pastors? Holy shit, bro.
And I leaned over and I said, Ben, when are you going to stop playing games with God? I led that man to the Lord right there.
I bet. Led that man to the Lord.
There's times that might be needed.
No, that will never be needed, okay? Physical violence is something that Jesus explicitly and specifically condemned. Don't enact physical violence against people. What is wrong with you? Let me see. Is there more on this one?
I just crumpled him. And I leaned over and I said, Ben, when are you going to stop playing games with God? I led that man to the Lord right there. There's times that might be needed. Can some of us say, you know what? If it wasn't for God kicking my rear, I wouldn't be here.
Okay, when people say kicking my rear, they usually use that figuratively. This guy is admitting to a felony on tape. What is wrong with this dude?
I have seen people, it literally took, sadly, a physical beating to come to the Lord.
It should never come to a physical beating to come to the Lord. That is psychotic, okay? Come back to reality. And don't punch anybody else. I'm begging you. That is nuts. You know what? Punch people. Do it. See how that works out. I'll have the cops on speed dial. See how it goes. Jesus, dude.
And I see here, it seems like these kids are just regurgitating Bible verses. I want to know if you really understand what it is that you are preaching.
Yeah, this is an old Oprah clip where this kid reveals that he is absolutely indoctrinated and doesn't understand a thing that people tried to drill into his head. He's just repeating things.
A reading comprehension test.
These poor kids, dude. I feel so bad for them. But the sad thing is they're going to grow up to be absolute nutcases. Hateful, extremist bigots. They never had a chance, man. They never had a chance.
Kids to see if they really.
You're not on mic, so
this student's an A student in the school.
Could you maybe give me a Bible verse?
Oh, that doesn't mean
interpret it or something?
Yeah, could you
show us you know what you're talking about? Show us it's not just stuff that people have been jamming down your throat.
Could you preach for us and then tell us what it is you mean?
I'm biblical.
Both ways.
Could you, Duffy? Could you? In your own words.
But you want me preaching it?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
I mean, they're all just a bunch of nutcases, all of these people.
Okay.
Well, there's a verse. There's a verse. You want them to preach?
Yeah.
Get up and preach. Get up and preach.
Yeah, go ahead. Stand up right where you are if you want to. Go ahead.
Jeffy, do you want to preach?
If you want to. If you don't want to,
the audience shouldn't be able to intimidate you into this. If you want to do it, it's up to you.
Just let the kid preach. Damn, come on.
Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me.
Whosoever therefore. What does that mean?
And of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation of him also.
Okay, I feel like some of those words made sense, but not next to each other. I'm not even sure what he's saying. I caught sinful generation and adulterous, but what was the rest of that?
Shall the Son of Man be ashamed?
Okay, that did not make any sense at all. Like, literally none of it. Is it just me, or is this kid, like, completely oblivious to what he's saying?
Okay. Now, wait a minute. Wait just a minute, please. People want to know what that means that you just said.
Thank you. It means nothing is the answer.
In your own word, tell us, what does that mean?
It means just what it says.
It means nothing. What's he supposed to say to this? He knows it means nothing. They know it means nothing. Like, there's no answer here. I love that Oprah is just drawing this out and making a pretty clear point here.
That's right.
Don't yell it to us. Tell us what that means.
Well,
I've never read the Bible, let's pretend, and I don't understand that type of language. Tell me how that applies in my own life.
Well, why I'm screaming is The Bible definition of preaching is Isaiah 58:1. It says, "Cry aloud, spare not, lift up your voice like a trumpet."
Stay away from the Bible, Duffy. Tell us.
Wait, I don't understand. Like, does it even say that? And how does that apply to anything at all?
Lift up your voice like Isaiah 58:1. It says,
Isaiah 58:1. I'm just super curious. Let's go down this rabbit hole. Shout it aloud, do not hold back, raise your voice like a trumpet. Okay, he was right. He actually quoted a Bible verse. Okay, that's something. Unfortunately, the other stuff he said did not go next to each other. It didn't make any sense. Can you explain that?
"Cry aloud, spare not, lift up your voice like a trumpet."
Stay away from the Bible, Duffy. Tell us.
How do you stay away from the Bible if you're going to preach, though?
The Bible says you're to speak as the oracles of God. If you don't want to talk the way this Bible talks, you should keep your mouth shut.
Okay, well, the Bible doesn't talk at all because it's a book. You read the Bible.
We still, but you understand what people are saying. They want you to interpret what you just said, Duffy.
The Bible says, does not interpretation belong to God? Genesis.
Oh, give me a break, dude. Just tell us what you mean. He meant nothing. It was garbage. All of it. It was trash. Those words did not go next to each other. And everybody on stage knows it, and everybody in the audience knows it. Ask him to repeat it. Tell us, do it again. Try again. Give us the exact same words that you gave us, and tell us what they mean as you say them. They can't do that because everybody here knows it's bullshit, all of it. And it is so sad. Like I said at the beginning, these kids had no chance. They were born into a family who was going to f their head their entire lives. And here he is sitting on Oprah screaming at a crowd words that don't have any relation to each other and can't even tell us what they mean. When he gets older, well, he's older now. This is a super old clip. I don't know where he is, but I would bet money he is either an atheist or an extremist evangelical nutcase.
This is chapter 40. Read it.
I understand that, David. What we're saying is, though, Duffy, do you understand what you just said? Could you put into your own words what you just said?
No, he can't.
Yeah, I know what it means, but I just can't.
Please let him speak. Yes.
Means well, I know what it means, but it's just hard to understand. But you got to realize that the prophets were out there saying, "Thus saith the Lord," and they didn't even know who it was. They didn't understand what they were saying.
Wait, you telling me that you just prophesied? So he's saying he doesn't understand what he's saying. He's just saying that God spoke through him, used him as his mouthpiece on earth. This is so sad, bro. This kid had no chance. This is one of the biggest problems in the United States, in my opinion. The fact that people are using children as pawns in a game and brainwashing them and manipulating them into spreading their own message. The kid doesn't even know what he said. This is just sad. Let me know what you think in the comments, man.